Hello, and today we are going to have a look at Pathfinder 2nd Edition, in particular the beginner box. Now this is proving impossible to find in the UK at retail, and so if you do find someone in stock, it's quite possible it's going to actually be at a slightly elevated price. Now on the back it talks about becoming a hero, what the box includes, which is all this pretty stuff over here, so dice, little cardboard standees, your character sheets for the 4 core character classes, some action cards, and the books for the player and the GM. And as it says, it's for 2 to 5 players, 13 and up, and the time, rather weirdly, 60 hours. There you go. I'm not sure that's 100% accurate, but there you go. In theory, you've got enough here to take you to, I believe it's level 3, possibly level 4. And if you get the expansion adventure, which I've got off camera here, The Troubles in Atari, this is just a little mini extension that builds up what comes in the beginner box and is probably a worthwhile addition to get the maximum value out of this. So let's pop the box open and see what's inside. Now, around the outside of the actual box, you've got some extra books and bits and pieces you can have, but in the box proper, you've got these rather lovely dice with nice, clear, easy to read numbers, and in different colours. So, D4, the yellow dice, D20, the sort of reddish dice. Colourblind, I'm not sure how easy these colours are to tell apart, but presumably they did look into that. Some bases for your standee cardboard bits, a little Skyrimscape promo card to tell you to go off and download it. And then inside you've got this really nice little read this first bit, which says, if you're on your own, play a solo adventure. If you've got a group, play characters, read this, read that. And then a little summary of what comes inside the box. We've then got these action cards. Now, Pathfinder's become known for the 3 action economy, so every player in their turn gets 3 actions, which is slightly different from other fantasy role-playing games that are similar to Pathfinder. You've then got these rather swanky sort of character sheets. So, Valorous, the fighter. Play the fighter. If you want to fight on the front lines, use the best weapons and armour. React quickly to enemy actions. So, when you flip it open, you've got a character sheet on the left here. And then on the right, what your character can sort of do is summarised here, and then there's a little bit of sort of fluff about who Valorous is, and each character sheet has that. So you've got Ezrin the wizard, Kyra the cleric, really cool character, that really like them, and then Merisil the rogue. So really, really nice little touch that. You've got some nice artwork, you've got some nice fluff background, and of course a nice character sheet with some summaries of how it is. So really good little introduction to the game. And there are actually miniatures for these characters as well, which is quite nice. So you've then got the beginner's handbook with some quick reference information on the back. We've then got, I think it's at least 4, possibly 6 character sheets. I haven't actually counted these, but these are just blank character sheets, so you can make your own characters. You've then got the Game Mastery Guide, which is a little bit thicker. It's got a different bit of artwork. It's got a slightly different set of quick references on the back. We've then got this rather nice, but a little bit unwieldy, large fold-out flip mat, which apparently you can write on and wipe stuff off with dry erase markers. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's, in some ways I'd prefer it if it was tiles, if I'm being honest. Then we've got a load of counters, which I haven't actually looked at all of them, but there's a whole load of them. 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets by the looks of it. And they've got some really nice artwork, and obviously popping these out, you're going to have to find a way of storing them. And then right at the bottom, the Pathfinder Society, a world of adventure and intrigue awaits. Join the Pathfinder Society today. Now, my understanding is the Pathfinder Society is an actual sort of in-game guild that your player characters can join. So that's pretty cool. So as you can see, you get quite a lot in your box, and this is going to take you from level 1 to 3 apparently quite easily with the built-in adventure, which is decent without necessarily being amazing. The actual quality of production is really, really good. Not much to complain about, and as I say, I'm actually pretty impressed by these dice. It'd be interesting to see how they hold up over several years of use, because infamously the original starter boxes for other fantasy games didn't do so well. So I'll probably have to do a separate video where I actually have had a chance to read the rules and tell you more about this interesting game, because I've always avoided Pathfinder because I'm a really big fan of first edition and earlier fantasy role-playing gaming. I wasn't so keen on second edition, and when third came out, it wasn't really for me, and I think it was more for the player group rather than the rules themselves. And Pathfinder First Edition was a spin-off of basically the third edition rules, often referred to as version 3.75. It was a reaction to fourth edition rules. But this is the new second edition, which has nothing to do with any controversial set of rules. And it'd be interesting to see if they bring out a version 2.5, which will work under the ORC license, which is the generic license that Paizo and over 1,400 other publishers are working on to allow you to produce games under this common sort of open license. And it'd be great to see what the Pathfinder sort of system reference document is going to be. So this is a great little product. As I say, if you buy it retail, I think it's under £40, which is, for 60 hours of entertainment is pretty good. And obviously if you create your own characters, you can get some more value out of this. And if you're happy to homebrew stuff, great guns. And I must admit, way back in the day, back in the 80s, when I was heavily playing fantasy role-playing games, for me, the sweet spot was like level 2 to level 5, to be honest. It's very rare for anyone to ever get over level 8, and I can only remember a couple of people who maybe got to level 10. So that's where other stuff that's available for this game could come in useful. So there are these things called adventure paths. There's one called the Abomination Vaults, which will take you up to 10th, maybe 11th level. I think the actual rules go to 20th level, but trying to get hold of an actual hardback or pocket edition softback version of the core rulebook, which is a 600 odd page monster, is basically impossible in the UK. Paizo are working on new prints, but you might find this really good beginner box, and even if you're really into Pathfinder, you might want the beginner box anyway, because it gives you an adventure, some pawns and some character sheets and some nice dice and a nice box to store stuff in. The only thing I would say is I'm not 100% sure how easy it's going to be to get this Trouble in Ontaro actually inside the box, because it's pretty packed already. But yeah, it should just about manage. But I don't think I'm going to easily fit this rather wonderful GM screen in it. It might go. And this is obviously for the full rules. And as you can see, it's got this beautiful piece of artwork with a massive amount of data available. So obviously we'll have to do some videos on these at some stage. But as I say, my caution is I've bought Pathfinder because I want to look into it. I want to see, am I going to bounce off it? Is it too crunchy, as they call it, for me? But apparently it's very smooth in play, and a lot of that crunch is actually creating your character and leveling your character up. But actually, when you actually get to the table and actually try and play, it's all on your character sheet, and it's pretty easy to actually run through. So my recommendation, if you're looking to get into Pathfinder, is definitely get the beginner box, heavily consider the troubles in Otaro, and take it from there. Get the GM screen, get an adventure path. Kingmaker's another really good adventure path apparently. And what's great is if you're if you're not 100% sold on Pathfinder, you can probably data mine the contents and the setting to run your own really cool fantasy role-playing rules. But yeah, lots of people are really swinging back to Pathfinder, which is interesting. It's sort of history repeating itself. And I need to actually get my teeth stuck into it because, as I say, I reared back in horror initially when I heard it was sort of a 3rd edition-ish style fantasy role-playing game, because for me, that's where things I'm not 100% happy with started to happen. You know, back in the day with BX rules, you know, I'm an elf, I'm a dwarf, I'm a fighter, I'm a cleric, I'm a thief. Pretty simple, easy, and sort of the simplicity worked in hand with the sort of style of game that it was. 3rd edition for me started to be too much fiddliness trying to fix problems inherent in the game, which worried me. But I've seen lots of people talking about Pathfinder, I've read a lot about it, and I can see why people like it, and there are some people who really like the sort of ultra optimization of your characters that you can get with Pathfinder. As I say, for me, I'm a little bit cautious about it, but I am excited to find out more, and I thought it was a worthwhile investment, A, to show support for the Orc license, but also just because, you know, the rules allow for some great fun, and the quality of the product is really good. You know, the artwork, the writing. In fact, I've heard it said that the quality of the writing in these products is often head and shoulders above other fantasy rule sets you may be playing at the moment. Anyway, as I say, I need to read. Enough waffling. Until the next video, happy gaming.